Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the 16th video in our series on building a chess engine from scratch in the Java programming language. In the last video, we fleshed out the create standard board method, and all we did there was we set pieces in accordance with the initial board of a chess game. We set the move maker to white and we build a board. And we also introduced two new member fields, the white pieces and the black pieces. Now I'm going to show you how to calculate the legal moves for white and black, and we'll see how those are going to be involved really to flesh out the player class in the next video. But we'll just sort of go through calculating the legal moves in this video and also writing a nice two-string method so we can print out a board in the initial state. So here we go. Let's come in here and declare some local variables. Final collection of move, white standard legal moves, and final collection of move, black standard legal moves. And let's go ahead and create a method called calculate legal moves given this dot white pieces and calculate legal moves given black pieces. So let's go ahead and create that method. See what that method's going to do. So in the series I did about all of the pieces, we had a method that would calculate the legal moves for an individual piece. Now we're passing in a collection of pieces, and we just want to calculate the legal moves for a given alliance, right? That's really what the argument to this method represents, the whites pieces or the blacks pieces. So we want to keep track of the legal moves separately here. So let's go ahead and say final list of move. It's going to be really easy. Legal moves is equal to new array list, and let's loop through our pieces for final piece in the oh, we don't want to call it white pieces, let's just call it pieces because it's generic. Pieces, we want to loop through, and we want to call piece.calculate legal moves, which takes in a board, which is what we're on, so we give it this pointer, and we want to add that to the legal moves, so legal moves.add all. So you're going to get a collection back from calculate legal moves, and you want to add all of those elements back into this container, the legal moves container, and then you're just going to return an immutable list.copy of legal moves. Okay, that's it. And what we're going to see is that these two arguments are going to be used to flesh out the white player and black player, which are the last pieces that we really need to add to this board class for a while until we come back much later and work out en passant. So let's see, is there anything else that I want to look at here? Oh, in the last video I mentioned that this calculate active pieces method could be static, and so let's declare that as such. Right, so let's work on the pretty print methods that will print out a board. So hopefully everybody's familiar with the two-string method in Java. We can override that at override public string two-string. This is going to determine what a board looks like when it's turned into a string object. So let's say final string builder builder is equal to new string builder, and we will say for int I equals 0, I less than board utils dot 6 numtiles plus plus, and then we will say for string tile text is equal to, and we're going to introduce a method, pretty print this dot gameboard dot get I. This method doesn't exist yet. Builder dot append string dot format. Let's say %3s tile text, and if I plus 1 modulo, it's 8, but we can use board utils dot numtiles per row is equal to 0, then builder dot append new line. Return builder dot toString. So I obviously have some explaining to do, but first let's flesh out this pretty print method. Private string pretty print. This can be static. So really all this is going to do is if the tile is occupied, return tile dot get piece alliance dot, if it's black, then tile dot toString dot to lowercase, otherwise tile dot toString. So really all I want to do is print out the white piece differently from the black piece. And I actually don't think I have a toString method yet on each piece. So we will have to do that. Let's see, what is this complaining about? Missing return statement. Oh. We would then, this, so it's not occupied, then we just want to say return tile.toString. Right. And so this method really just goes through and it will, it's going to print out the board in an ASCII text way that's we are going to be able to quickly interpret conveniently. So let's first look at the tile class and see, do we even have a toString method on our tile class already? I'm not sure that I do. I don't. Okay, so let's go ahead and introduce one here. So public string toString, and for an empty tile I'm just going to return a dash, a hyphen. You'll see how this looks. And for an occupied tile I'm going to say public return public string toString and this dot piece on tile dot toString. I think that's right. We might need to come back to this. So if the tile is occupied, then just print it out as the piece, and if it's not, print it out with a hyphen. Okay. And so really, actually, yeah, that's not quite right. All we need to do now, we just need to take this whole implementation and go to the tile, and that implementation really represented the occupied tile. So all we need to do is this. Right. So if it's black, then do it that way, and if it's white, then just do it this way. So black pieces black pieces will show up as lowercase, white pieces will show up as uppercase, just sort of a convention. I think that's right. And so the empty tile is just going to show up as a hyphen. Okay. So then we don't need this. And really, actually, we can just call tile.toString here. We don't need this method, really. I can say this dot gameboard dot get I dot toString. Okay, that should be easier. Alright, so now that we've done that, there's one last piece, which is that there's no toString on each piece, right? So we really want to have a way of printing out each piece in a way that will look nice. So the way that I want to do this is by introducing an enum on the piece class, and this is actually going to have a lot more on it than just this toString stuff. But let's go ahead and start real quick. Public enum piece type, and so I'm going to say that there's going to be a piece type. I'm going to say piece type, and it's going to take in a final string piece name. Okay. Let's see what this is complaining about. And we're going to say this dot piece name is equal to piece name that's passed in. And let's see if we can get past these compiler errors. No modifiers allowed. Oh, I don't need the final. Why can't I declare that private? There we go. Private string piece name. And what is this complaining about? Oh, it's just complaining because we haven't introduced any. So let's say pawn, and we're going to give it a P. Okay, that works. That got rid of our compiler errors. That was annoying. and we are going to put a comma. We'll say pawn, knight, we'll give knight an N, bishop, we'll give bishop a B, rook, and we'll give rook an R, queen, and we'll give queen a Q, and king, we'll give king a K. Okay. And we'll introduce a toString method on here. Override public string toString, and it's just going to return this .piece name. Okay. Wow. That took a little bit longer than I had hoped for. And let's go ahead and when we invoke the toString method on each piece, we're just going to delegate to the appropriate piece type. Okay, so this should be quick here. Let's see. At override public string toString return. So this is the bishop. So we're going to say piece type bishop toString. Boom. Okay. So let's copy that and quickly go through these. This is now the king, and for the king we're going to go to the king. And for the knight, we're going to override and go to the knight. And for the pawn, queen, and lastly rook. Okay, so I went through that pretty quickly. Hopefully we'll find out soon if we made any mistakes. But now I would argue that we have the pieces that we need put in place to do a real quick test, guys. So let's see here. I'm going to come all the way up to this level, and I'm going to create a new class called jchess. This is going to be our driver class, the class where our main method lives. So let's say public static void main string args, and see if we can quickly say board is equal to board dot create standard board, and let's say system dot out dot println board, and do a quick test here. Let's right click and try to run this main method and see what happens. Exciting, we're finally running. Oh boy, we got a null pointer exception. Okay, oh, I think I know what this is. So the board config method here, notice it's using this internal map, but I never initialized this map. So I need to say this dot board config is equal to new hash map. Okay. That's kind of embarrassing, right? First time you want to run your program. Oh boy. So we also have some null pointer exceptions here in the pawn class. Let's see if I can quickly... Oh, I know what's going on here. Oh, I had forgotten to initialize the second and seventh row. So in the prior videos, I had written a method called initColumn, and I had promised to, in a subsequent video, deal with the initialization of a row, and I just never got to it. So let's do this really quickly here. Let's say init row, and it's going to be 0 offset, so the second row is going to be 1, and init row of the 7th row is going to be 6, I believe. Actually, no, this will be slightly different. The 2nd row, this is the way we're going to do it. I'm going to give this an 8, and I'll explain this. And the 7th row, I'm going to give it a 48. This is actually going to be the tile ID that begins the row. Okay, that's going to make it really easy here. So let's say private static boolean init row and int row number, and final boolean array row is equal to new boolean, and num tiles. So we're going to do a do while loop here again. You don't have to. Do while row number modulo the number of rows per tile is not equal to 0. We're going to say row of row number is equal to true. Row number plus plus. Right? So if you gave it a 0, it would start at the first row, and while the current row number is less than 8, it would go ahead and set all those values to true. So let's see if I can quickly bring up, it would start here and it would go true, 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 and then the condition would no longer be satisfied. The while condition would break, and you'd be done there. So fairly quick explanation. Let's go back. Let's see what it's complaining about in board utils. Oh, we need a return row. We want to return the row, right? Okay. So now let's go back. Okay, thanks for your patience, everyone. Let's run this. Okay, look at that. Awesome. We're starting to see some signs of life here only after 16 videos. The white pieces here were oriented such that they're on the bottom, and the black pieces are oriented at the top, and we're now seeing our first chessboard. So things are going to continue to pick up here, guys. Please do leave comments and suggestions and feedback. I appreciate it, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks, guys.